Hello, everyone. It's Jonathan Semsrott over here at Keyrenter in Austin. Hope you're all doing really well. Just wanted to take a few moments today and just discuss our lease renewal process. This is something that we take a great deal of time and energy and focus to make sure this process goes really well and it really matters to us. And I wanted to give you just some of the background on why that is. So you may or may not know, we try really hard to get our leases to renew somewhere in the middle of our peak season, which for us is anywhere from March through July. That doesn't mean that that's the only time that a lease can renew, and many of our leases would renew at other cycles, but all things being equal, we'd like them to renew then because it's usually a little bit more higher demand from tenants during that peak season. So we start with that, but once we are offering a lease renewal, there's a couple of objectives that we have in play that are really important. One would be perhaps implementing a rent increase, which is pretty common at lease renewal here in Austin. So it's our chance to reset rent and at a possibly higher price. Secondly, we really want to keep the rent stable and to keep the home producing income for you as the property owner, and keeping the home occupied is the way that we would want to do that. So those two reasons form a lot of the why behind why we work so hard on this process. And our results here are actually really good. Currently, our number is about 72% on lease renewals. And so what does that mean? It means that 72% of the time when we're offering someone a lease renewal, they're going to say yes, or they do say yes to that renewal, and they extend the lease by another term, usually another year. And so that number is good. It wasn't always that high, but we've put a lot of energy and focus around boosting that number up to keep properties occupied where possible and keep them producing income. And you might ask yourself, why does that matter? What's the big deal? Why does it matter so much? And here's the real why. We want to keep cost of ownership to you, the property owner, as low as possible to keep things affordable. And keeping homes occupied and renewing leases is exactly that. When you stop and consider the total cost all in of turning a property over from one tenant to the next, that cost can be substantial in some cases. When you calculate the period of time the home is vacant, where it's not producing income, if you think about that as a cost of lost income, coupled with a new leasing fee that we might charge to go out to the market and find a new tenant for the home, screen that tenant, perform the move-in process, that costs money, obviously, and so there's a leasing fee that goes with that. And then make-ready costs. Between every tenant that turns over, there's always some amount of make-ready costs that are incurred, even if most of that goes back on a tenant's security deposit that might be leaving. There's still components that the owner pays for in almost every case, just normal wear and tear that happens. So there's things like that add up. We did an analysis some time back and realized that if you add all those components, some of which are a little hard to think about when you think about lost rent, for example, it's not necessarily something you might think of as a cost, but it's truly something to calculate. If you look at the average of what that turnover cost is, the average can be around $3,600, which is a significant number. Now, obviously, it could be less than that. It could be more than that in some cases. And so it's a number that we should all take seriously because it's real dollars. And so by renewing a lease and keeping a happy tenant in a property, keeping the property producing income, that eliminates most of that cost and keeps your total cost of ownership lower. And so we want to do that in every case. And this time of year, as we enter the spring, summer months where we are currently right now, it's pretty warm in Austin. We're kind of in the middle of our summer. Lease renewals are a huge focus, and we're doing a lot of those every single day. So wanted to give you some background and clarity on that process, how we think about things, and hopefully that's helpful to you. Thank you so much for being our client and working with us. We enjoy working with each and every one of you, and we hope you have an enjoyable rest of your day. Thanks so much.